This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Everybody, welcome to This Week in the NFL, Week 4. I'm your host, Cowboy, joined as always by my partner in crime, the peaches to my herb, John D'Amato. How you doing, John?
Right there, Cowboy. We're not actually reunited. We've been banging it every week, so, but it does feel so good.
It does. You know what else feels good, John?
Tell me.
They got a quarterback in New York, baby.
Yes.
30 seconds in.
For the first time in 3 years, the Giants are not the laughingstock of football for 1 week at least. It feels kind of good that everybody's blowing the Giants instead of the LOL Giants, which has been for like about 3 straight years. It feels good for 1 week, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's tempered enthusiasm.
I know your personality, John. Having growing up a Red Sox fan, I know that tortured personality. You never want to believe anything. But I'm going to get excited for you, John. That kid looked good. The one thing I'll say is, what the hell were the Giants seeing in practice that they trotted Eli out there for the first couple of weeks? Right? I mean, that kid looked really, really good. I mean, he was poised. He made some plays with his legs. He's, I know the knock on him coming out of college. He doesn't have a strong arm, but plenty strong enough and very accurate. I mean, very good decisions. And that gut check, brought him back from 18 down. And then that gut check drive to win the game at the end, where he runs it in himself. They're going to make a movie about that game someday, right? This is what an introduction to the NFL. It's good for the NFL when there's good players in New York. And like you said, there's only one laughingstock in New York right now, and it's not the Giants.
Yeah, and also there's another laughingstock in the NFC East, and so far it's not the Giants. But tempered enthusiasm. He does, even in every preseason game, and even in that little garbage time game he got against the Cowboys, he does have a fumble. He's got to clean up the turnovers, which I repeated. He's got to recognize when the hit's coming, and he had 2 turnovers, and also he had a gift interception that luckily the Buccaneers defender dropped, which is right in his hands.
Kid's
so
not
he's got
to be perfect. That's
yeah.
The fumble thing is something that he can clean up exactly. And
also better defenses are going to have schemes. They're going to throw some more stuff at him at the Bucs. Besides Shaq Barrett, the Bucs didn't offer up much. But
for what it's worth, the Redskins, if they're not the worst defense in football, they're bottom 3. So I expect Jones to have a good game this week, and the hype train is really, really going to take off if he has another good game and they win again. Right.
But also just the karma, because the Giants, as I mentioned before, they lost 18 games in the last five years in the last 2 minutes, the most of football, and they've lost a lot of games thanks to like a 60-yard field goals, 63-yard field goals at the last minute. Exactly. So they finally caught a break. I think Jones brought some good karma. So it was good to be, and also you saw a lot of fans like yourselves that normally throw a lot of shade and haterade against the Giants. They were enthused by it, and they were impressed by this kid. And all of a sudden, everybody who was all the LOLs and all the laughter on draft day when the Giants made the pick. Now you see guys like Rex Ryan saying that Jones is already better than Baker Mayfield. Today it was
it's a kiss of death right there, unfortunately. Pretend like you didn't say it. Take it back, today, Rex. Take it back right now.
Today on Fox Sports, they praised Jones. They said right now that he would be taking over Kyler Murray if the draft was today. What was it? Marcellus Wiley. Yeah, Marcellus Wiley. Yeah.
Oh, that might be true. That
a lot of praise for young Daniel.
Right, and that's the thing when they made the pick, and I mean, he went to Duke, right? I mean, how many people are watching Duke football games? Just you hear the experts saying, "Oh, this kid's a third or a fourth rounder. They reached for him, yada yada." I believe you told me. I think it was you told me they had to take him because the Redskins were going to take him if they didn't. So they wanted him. They got their guy. I don't think anybody expected it to start off like this so soon, but you know what?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had a lot of things go wrong for them, but if you hit on a quarterback, and it looks like they might have hit on a quarterback, you're no longer a laughingstock for the foreseeable future. One negative from the game was Saquon, poor Saquon, high ankle sprain, out 4 to 8 weeks. You had to love. I mean, it was pretty cool watching that enthusiasm with him hopping on one freaking leg, celebrating. I mean, it's like the whole thing seemed to get in Gay's head, right? Because, I mean, he wasn't even close, and it was a field goal I probably would have made. So Gay may not be there for too long after missing the kick. But and then Arians came out after and said he intentionally took
and he moved him back, because he said he
intentionally took the delay of game.
He kicks better from further away. You can't make it up.
But there's hope in New York. And again, I mean, it would be pretty disappointing if he came out and laid an egg against the Redskins that just made Mitch Trubisky look like a in prime Joe Montana on Monday night. The Redskins coming off a short week. So I fully expect the Daniel Jones hype train to have left the station and be picking up steam this time next week, John. So
I have a feeling that it might be a little humble pie. I have a feeling that Collins and Norman, they really want to stick it to Gettleman, and even if Jones gets a run like 6-7 yards of field, if Collins could get a shot to take him out, he would risk a suspension or whatever just to stick it to Gettleman. It's not like he would care about a suspension. Not like his team's going anywhere.
That's true.
So,
Norman, I don't think even if he wants to can do anything about it. I think he's got a big fork sticking out of his back. When you're just getting burned time after time after time by Taylor Gabriel, it's you're probably not worth that $15 million or whatever they're paying him.
Yeah, that's epically almost $100 million guaranteed between Norman and Collins, and epically bad management. By
At least
Washington.
Collins is still he's a good young player. It's
sure, but $14 million a year for a safety when
it's crazy.
You don't have anybody else. That's exactly why the Giants they said we really don't have anybody else on defense. So to give a safety that money, to make plays, after guys get 6-7 yards running and.
It's typical Dan Snyder management right there. Just no direction, useless.
Yeah, but my
pay him,
enthusiasm
but
is
you're not going to pay
because,
Trent Williams.
I wish we had Trent Williams instead of Nate Solder. That's why it's hard to get too excited when Nate Solder and Jenkins, two of our highest paid players, just an embarrassment on the field, trying to give the game back. So we still got a lot of holes to fill. The quarterback.
Solder was not Solder's best day. He got abused, and I mean Mike Evans just really. I mean, do you think some of that, like at one point or another, don't you? I know you're paying Jenkins to be a shutdown quarterback.
Yeah, how about some safety help?
At one point or another, you got to move somebody over there, right? The guy you just got roasted play after play after play, even on the last play there.
Last drive of the game. How about a little safety help? You might want to double team. Yeah, that's defensive coordinator. Yeah, the Giants got a lot of issues other than Jones. It's not like they're gonna romp towards a playoff run here. I still see the 6 to 7 wins happening, but at least it'll be more entertaining.
That last play of the play that Evans caught to set them up for the field goal, it's got to be the one thing you can't let him do, right? The one thing you can't let him do is just let Evans get deep on single coverage.
One-on-one, ridiculous with the game on the line, yeah. A lot of things they could clean up. The Giants management spent all week blowing themselves and patting themselves on the back, saying, we told you, how good Jones is going to be, but they also have to take responsibility for the epically poor defense and still holes elsewhere, like in the offensive line with Solder, very highly overpaid at this point.
The thing is, those holes, I don't think any. I mean, only the most optimistic of fans would expect a playoff run or something this year. You know, you don't think I don't think that's happening, but the reason for the optimism is holes on the offensive line, holes on defense are a whole hell of a lot easier to fill than a hole under center. And
Sure.
and you know how it is. I mean, look at the Bears. The Bears are I know they beat the Redskins, but they're for better or worse tied to Mitch Trubisky going forward now for the foreseeable future, and he's just not that good. He's just not that good. And that's going to hold them back. So when you even in the top 10, these guys are not guaranteed. I mean, even I'm not going to agree with Rex. Baker has had a tough start. You know, the second coming.
Yeah, it's only one game. Let's slow it down.
Bit of hype.
Young Daniel's going to take his lumps.
He's going to take his lumps. He's going to take his lump. But he looks like he at least looks like the real deal. Whereas a guy like Trubisky kind of has all the tools, but looks like he doesn't really know how to play football. Like that's kind of the way I think of him.
Yeah.
Jones
and
looks
also,
like he knows how to play football.
And also a big thing, they talked up his demeanor and how he handles things. So he's going to be able to handle a 2-3 game losing streak and handle the New York press.
Oh, it's coming. Of course, it's coming.
Yeah.
So anyway, John, I don't want to.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
I know we want to tread lightly, but I want to congratulate you on a good week. There have not been a lot of good weeks for the Giants in the last couple of years. This might be the first one since you and I have been doing this show together. So I want to congratulate. I want to congratulate you on that week.
Thank you, sad but true. I'll take it. And we might have our last shot at getting to 500 this week, but I still think the revenge factor is going to play in, and the Redskins unfortunately going to pull something out.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to lose. I don't think you're losing at home to that team. The Redskins are not very good.
But neither are the Giants.
That's true. It's kind of like a coin flip. But I think anyway. I think the Giants have a good shot to win that one at home. So John, good Giants talk there. The other New York team, the Jets, they're on bye this week. I was just kidding about them being a laughingstock. They got injuries. Darnold's coming back soon. Going to get another good draft pick. So pretty exciting in New York. Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. You have a couple of good young quarterbacks in the big city.
Yeah, the Jets just got to get a couple of breaks. They've had some injury issues, so they still got time to make something of this season.
Of course.
A well-needed bye week.
So we're recording here about 50 minutes before kickoff for Eagles-Packers. So it's a game that I would normally talk a lot about, but by the time everybody listens, it's going to have happened. So I guess we can just, try to make ourselves look dumb. So here's how I see the game playing out. I think the Packers are a good team. I think they're pretenders at 3-0. I think the Eagles are better than their 1-2 record. Alshon Jeffrey's coming back. The Eagles have looked like shit. The Packers have looked good on defense, not as good on offense. It's in Green Bay. All the tea leaves point to the Packers winning. That's why the Eagles are going to win this game, John. 2-2. Take it to the bank.
Okay, I've been high on the Packers defense, but a caveat to that: their opponents have been Chicago, Minnesota, and Denver. Not exactly three high-powered offenses. So they're going to get a real test tonight in a few minutes here. But so far, you have to be impressed with the Packers defense. The Smith brothers, Zadarius and Preston, they're not really brothers, but the Smith brothers, they've been forcing quarterbacks to cough up the ball there.
Absolutely. And
did you catch that one? Smith brothers cough, the cough drops.
Oh wow, that one went right over my head, John. You got to get up early in the morning to do that too. Good job.
Got to spell them out for you. It's not really. That's not quality. I got better material than that. But
bad loss by Philly last week. At home to the Lions. If you watch the game, it was like one of those losses where I thought Philly was like pretty clearly the best team on the field, but they just the turnover and they give up the fucking kick, the big kick return.
Yeah,
and next thing you know, you're losing to the Lions.
It looked like they were going to pull it up, but a huge play was that when they got the blocked field goal and they got the big return.
The block in the back.
Yes, that sunk them right there. I thought they had the game in the bag when they they blocked that kick, but that penalty took them back. So
the kid Whiteside having two clubs for hands on the last play of the game hurts too. I mean,
and
what the hell is Wentz supposed to do? It's like just a perfect throw right in the hands.
Yeah, and those are the guys are getting open, but not able to make the catch. Even like Dallas Goedert, who usually has a sure-handed tight end, even he's dropping them.
They do have Jeffrey back tonight.
Yeah,
they need him.
Deshaun is still out, but I think I'm leaning your way because Peterson has 3-0 on Thursday night games, and none of them have really been close. So he's been able to make the adjustments. And as previously stated, the Packers haven't really had an offense like this to play against. So I look for an upset too.
No, and I mean the thing that everyone's saying, which I agree with, is that the Phillies' secondary is very burnable, and they are, and the Packers will score some points, but I don't think the Green Bay defense is as for real as everybody else does, and I think Wentz will score some points, and I think they'll just make one or two plays and get it done. I just it's a kind of a weird reason to think something, but I just don't see Philly as a 1-3 team, and I certainly don't see Green Bay as a 4-0 team. I think they're pretenders.
Another big surprise is now Philly's pass rush, only 2 sacks. So far, guys like Trent Cole and Graham have been shut out, and no sacks on Detroit. That was a real surprise. So
Aaron likes to hold the ball back there. So
yeah, their defensive line is Philly's strength, so they have to up their game. I think they're gonna improve and get there tonight.
And then the game of the week last week, other than Giants Buccaneers, was Ravens Chiefs.
Yeah, you think so?
Coming into the game everybody was most excited about.
Yeah, because the actual game itself, I never once thought that the Chiefs were in any danger.
Oh no, completely agree. I mean, I think they showed their. It really looks like. I mean, it really looks like it's. I mean, unless there's a big injury, and I think we talked about this last week, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to beat the Patriots or the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? Before they play each other, and that's shaping up to be like one of those old school NFC title games when the Niners and the Cowboys would play each other every year, like the Steve Young, Troy Aikman teams, where you knew that was like the Super Bowl. Like, I mean. Those two teams are really, to me, look like far and away the two best teams in the NFL. And the Chiefs' defense actually played well in this one. I know they gave up 128 points, but a lot of it was garbage time, or semi-garbage time, with the Ravens trying to come back. Their defense isn't great, but Lamar Jackson had looked, incredible the first 2 weeks, and they held him down. They did give up some rushing yards to Ingram, but they only need to be decent for the Chiefs to win, because that offense is just so ridiculous.
Yeah, and the Chiefs get ahead and force teams to pass, so that's why they've actually had a lot of sacks. Their defensive line, guys like Clark and Agba.
Oh yeah, because teams are passing the whole game.
Yeah, and they improved their secondary too with Tyrone Matthew, the Honey Badger, and Bashad Breeland. So. But I agree with you 100%. Those two teams are far and above everybody else. We're not going to be analyzing too many games coming up other than when they actually play the Chiefs and the Patriots. Although the Lions, they've taken a lot of punches from us. But
I mean, both the Pats and the Chiefs are on the road against teams that haven't lost yet this week. And, Buffalo. It doesn't seem like they're built really to beat the Patriots, but you never know. And Detroit in the Dome can at least score some points, so they do have the ability to potentially win a shootout there. But I think Mahomes will hang 30 something on them. So it's gonna take a Herculean effort by Mr. Stafford to get that done. I don't really see it happening.
Me neither, but I got to give the Lions credit. We've taken a lot of shots at them, but 2 games in a row now, no sacks. They've kept Stafford clean, so that offensive line is really stepping up and improving. And they have a diversified offense, a lot of weapons, and their defense has improved. But if Slay was banged up, if Darius Slay, if he's out, they have absolutely no chance. He's their best player on the defensive side.
He is. It's weird though with the Chiefs because with especially without Hill, like Slay's the kind of guy who follows someone around. Like, I mean, I guess he can follow Watkins. But it's like against the Chiefs, that kind of guy doesn't have as much value as he does against other teams because Mahomes has no problem just going to the other guys, right? If Watkins is covered, I mean, he's got, it's really impressive. I mean, they've shown they can. It's like one of those offensive systems that you can just literally just throw anybody in there. It's like the old Pats back when 06, 07 with Rashae Caldwell and Jabbar Gaffney running around. It just doesn't matter because Mahomes is so good.
Yeah, like Travis Kelce is only averaging about 5-6 catches per game. He hasn't really turned it on yet because Mahomes has been spreading it out.
Which I like. I like that he's spreading it out. You don't have to focus on one guy. So, yeah, I think tough to pick Detroit in that game. I mean, if they do, we're gonna send an extra large extra cheese pizza up to Maddie Patricia's room from here at This Week on Sports.
I guarantee one thing: he won't share it.
That's what I'm saying. Because we've taken shots at him, so. You got to take care of the guy if he proves us wrong.
We'll give him props. They're undefeated, and just like your Patriots, who've undefeated, and all three of their opponents haven't won a game yet. So it's good they finally got some competition this week.
I know the Pats' schedule has been ridiculous, but they have looked. It's not like they're eking them out either. I mean, they haven't given up a defensive touchdown, right, all season, an offensive touchdown.
That's the first time since I believe it was 1937 or something like that's happened.
It's pretty impressive.
So, kudos to them. Man.
For all the gamblers out there, what a brutal way for the Jets to cover the 23-point spread. So you had a muffed punt recovered in the end zone that cuts it to 23. I think the spread was 21.5, and then the Pats bring in Stidham for one series. They haven't taken Brady out of a game in freaking 10 years. They always talk about Brady plays till the end. Yep. They bring in Stidham for one series to get him a look. Pick six.
Overthrows a guy by 20 yards.
Pick six. And then Brady comes in and just hands off the rest of the way.
And they signed the quarterback to put some heat on him. And what about the returner, Gunner? Did they cut him or... Are we going to see him back there return a punt, Olszewski?
I think he's all right.
Yeah.
He can't. I mean, everybody fumbles every once in a while. It wasn't a costly one.
As long as it wasn't in a big spot. But other than that, I like what I see out of him. They're obviously grooming him to be like a future Edelman. I'm sure they'll move him on into some receiving spots.
Yeah. He's a typical Patriot guy. But Buffalo, who we talked about in the preseason as a potential sleeper, has been good. Very, very solid. It was another nice win against Cincinnati. They don't look like spectacular doing it, but they're a pretty balanced team. Right?
Could easily be 1-2 though. Could easily be 1-2. But...
Good defense.
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White is a really, really good corner. He's kind of sneaky, just as good as a lot of these other guys, like a guy like Slay and thing like that. I think you need to put him in that conversation now. He's excellent. And Allen been doing enough. The old man, Frank Gore, last week. Looks like Singletary will play this week. And John Brown has been huge for them to actually have a receiver who can make some plays. Him and Allen have a good rapport.
Yeah, so, Beasley on the third down.
Oh, Beasley's been really good, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're a good team. They might be a playoff team. With all that said, they do seem like they're kind of like built in such a way that they're going to have a lot of trouble with the Patriots. I mean, more so than some other teams because the way the Buffalo's like offensively a little bit challenged, and the way the Patriots defense has been playing, like it's really tough to see them moving the ball too much.
The running back Singletary is banged up. He's only carried about 10 times.
He didn't play last week at all. He was hurt, but he did practice.
12 yards a carry. The guy's got an amazing yards per carry, but he can't really keep staying in the field. He's a home run hitter.
Yeah, I mean their best bet against the Pats is to have Allen use his legs. He hurt him last year like that, and you never know in Buffalo. They can. The Patriots have had problems there before. I could see it at least being a close game and not a complete laugher like these other games have been.
Disagree. Tom Brady lifetime versus the Bills 30-3. keep those numbers in mind because that's going to be about what the final score is: 30-3.
30-3, yeah.
33
I guess
Pats.
I was thinking back. You remember it's one of the most infamous losses of the Belichick era, right? Right. The week
Lawyer
after,
Malloy
the
game,
week
right?
after they cut Lawyer Malloy, they lost
Lawyer
31-0.
Malloy
But
game.
is that so long ago? Was that even Brady? Was that Bledsoe? That might have been Bledsoe. So I'm aging myself, John.
I remember
Been at this a
well.
long time.
Everybody buried the Pats. Sure.
I remember my best friend at the time was a big Bills fan, big Bills fan, and he was like good guy, but the kind of guy that would throw it in your face. So he's watching the game with me, the two middle fingers up, making fun of me, making fun of the Patriots. So I think they only lost one other game the whole season, so that was good.
Karma got that guy. Both of the franchises have taken a significant turn, one kind of up and one the other way.
So another game to look at. We just talked about the Ravens. You have really a big game for the Cleveland Truthers who picked Cleveland. Thought Cleveland was going to have a good year. We took a look at Cleveland's schedule last week and saw that it was difficult. I said I thought the Rams were going to wipe the floor with them, and Cleveland hung in there. I don't think they played particularly well offensively. I thought their defense played good. And the Rams' offense doesn't quite look as high-powered as it did last year, and then Goff's interception at the end was inexcusable. But any event, they had a chance to tie that game from the 4-yard line, where I'm not sure what the play calling situation was there, but real curious. They went empty all 4 plays, so no threat of the run. They never even really came close to getting a touchdown from the 4-yard line, so that was pretty ugly. They had another call earlier in the game, 4th and 9 at about the 45-ish of the Rams, where they ran a draw.
Draw play, sure.
But, I mean, I saw something, Barnwell, I think, retweeted it, that they'll never admit it, but that it looks like they think Kevin Kitchens thought it was 3rd down.
Yeah.
It's possible.
The Browns took a lot of heat, especially Kitchen, and all those penalties. But I'm a little more positive about them. That they hung in there versus a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and everybody's kind of killing them. So I'm a little higher on their defense, and I think
thought
they
their
got a
defense
shot.
played well.
I think they got a shot versus the Ravens this week.
They better. So that's the thing. I mean, I think if you're them, you lose this game. You're 1-3. Ravens are 3-1, and things do not get. They get a little easier. So at San Francisco on Monday night in Week 5, that's another undefeated team who's.
Yeah, but it's winnable.
It is winnable. It's losable. Then you're home for Seattle at New England. So.
Seattle's winnable.
Yeah, so I mean, you gotta. Then the schedule lightens up a lot after that for them: Denver, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Miami,
Miami,
Cincinnati, Arizona. So you got a real shot if you're them to go on a run right there, especially with Roethlisberger out. But you can't lose three.
Yeah.
You can't lose 3 of these 4 games. You need to go 2-2.
Yep.
So at the very least, you're 3-4. 2-5, I don't think it happens. So we'll see. This is a real statement week for them. It would be a huge win for them. Baltimore is they're beatable. They're a good team, but they're definitely beatable. And you would think that the Cleveland pass rush and the Cleveland front 7 could give them trouble, right? Both on
Myles Garrett has been a beast.
Cleveland could really use those 2 corners to play, Greedy and Denzel Ward. I don't know if either one of them is going to play, but yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns. I'm sorry, the Ravens. I don't think the Browns can win in Baltimore, but
I think the Browns are going to take it. I have to just give a little FU. Did you notice on the last drive? All Baker relied on Landry and Ratley on the last drive. He didn't throw one pass to a certain receiver who got just totally shut down by Aqib Talib. Totally took him out of the game in the 4th quarter. He didn't even look in at number 13 on that last drive. All the passes were to Ratley and Landry.
I know Talib's a physical corner. That's not that's not OBJ's thing. The physicality.
Yeah, I
He
just
doesn't
had
like
to point that out.
No shade there, right? Just calling it like you see it.
Yeah, I mean, we see all these other when it comes on the money's on the line. We see Evans can't be stopped. We see like Julio Jones. Everybody knows he's getting the ball and he can't be stopped. So, if you're going to talk all that, you want to be a highest paid and the top 5 receiver. Disappeared in the fourth quarter.
It's true. Can't argue with it. So, how about the Saints, John? You nailed that one. I mean, it's a funky game, but they came out and got it done.
Ball control and defense. I keep pumping up their defense. Very, very impressive. Somebody who, an ex-Giant, Eli Apple, made a couple nice plays that caused a turnover. Really fitting in that secondary. Cam Jordan's been a beast, and one thing I like, everybody's calling for Taysom Tebow or Taysom Hill. The fans are in love with him as a backup, but to me, he's a guy that is can only come in and do a little run read option. But if you're going to put him back there and have him pass 10, 15 times, he's going to get exposed. He's going to be like a Tebow. So I think that's a good move that Peyton stuck with Bridgewater to manage the game.
Yeah, no, and he played fine. And Kamara is incredible, isn't he?
Yes.
What an incredible game. I mean, it's real helpful for a backup quarterback if you're a guy you can dump it off to. He made the whole team miss on one of those touchdowns. He's just like, for a little guy, like he's just so hard to tackle. He's got such incredible balance. I mean, he really is an incredible player. They have a tall order this week. We talked about it last week. Home in New Orleans, which is nice. Sunday Night Football, so a big stage. You got the Cowboys flying high. The Cowboys coming in there. Really, really good game. Real quality game. Tough to glean too much from the Cowboys game this week. They let the Dolphins hang around a little bit like we kind of thought they would. The Cowboys they're just the kind of team that you could see them overlooking them a little, which is what it looked like happen. The Dolphins are so bad that it didn't really matter. But didn't really see too much there. But how do you see this one playing out?
I think the Cowboys are going to keep on rolling. They were looking ahead to this game. And that's why that first half there was a little wonky versus the Dolphins. But I think they're going to stay away from they're going to maintain Thomas and Kamara, keep them from making big plays, and hold them to field goals while their offense scores a couple more touchdowns. And they beat the Saints there last year. They know how to do it, and that was against Breeze. And this year they're going to do it again versus Teddy Bridge, unfortunately.
No, Amari Cooper had an MRI yesterday. He practiced today, so
they could get by. Gallup has really.
He's hurt too. He's not playing.
Wow. Okay.
But Cooper did practice today, so I think specifically because Gallup is hurt, if he were to not play for whatever reason, that really shifts things because then he's got nobody to throw to. But
still got Cobb and.
Yeah, I mean, Cobb is your one is not great. So, but Cooper's been really good, and I wonder if they're gonna do a little bit more of a split at running back. I know don't just want to talk about the skill position guys, but the kid Pollard looks like a real player for them. Like that's another nice find for them, where they've always rode Zeke so hard that sometimes toward the end of the year he looks like maybe a little overworked, and in this current age, I think they may split the work a little bit, kind of a 70-30 deal. But I also like the Cowboys. I just think I do like the Saints defense. I just don't think that the Bridgewater Saints are going to be able to score enough to keep up with the Cowboys. The Cowboys offense looks great. Dak is making the mother of all contract pushes. He's been what? I mean, he's no worse than I think the fifth best quarterback in the NFL this year. He's been incredible.
Yeah. It's going to be a big test. The Saints defense played very well. Also, besides Cam Jordan, Hendrickson has really emerged. So
they played well, but I mean, Russell Wilson threw for 400 yards. I know they were coming back, but it's not like they just shut him down, right?
Yeah, they had that game in hand.
They did have the game in hand. So a little bit of prevent defense. So that's a great game. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Sunday night, yep.
Sunday night, baby. And how about the Panthers? Panthers are going to Houston. They get on the board, 1-2. With this injury to Breeze, with the Buccaneers falling on their face a little bit, that prediction might not be dead there, Johnny. That prediction might not be dead. Kyle Allen goes on the road against potentially the worst defense I've ever seen in Arizona, but he played well. They got it done. And the defense sacked Kyler Murray 8 or 9 times. These are the Panthers I expected to see. Do you think they can keep it rolling in Houston in a much tougher challenge?
Yeah, it's a big difference playing Arizona and Houston. I think Allen's going to get a little humble pie for the rookie there, and Houston's going to win going away.
See, I'm not with you there. I feel like Allen, that was a good confidence builder for him. I think Cam, there was really something badly wrong with him. And,
talking about a Liz Frank injury, that's multiple weeks. Possible.
Yeah. I mean, they might shut him down. I mean, it's not impossible they shut him down. But with a guy like him, I mean, he's never been an accurate passer, right? I mean, that's not his thing. So with him completely unable to move, it's essentially like the worst quarterback in the league because it's a guy who can't throw. He's not going to go back there and even complete 50% of his passes. Whereas Allen looks at least capable using the weapons. Houston never impresses me, and maybe I'm a prick. I don't know, but just something about them, they just don't. I feel like they're like a little bit overrated, and Watson is like a little bit overrated. Defense
I'm
a
with
little
you
bit
there.
Overrated. So I think Carolina gets it done. I'm picking with my heart probably, but I think Carolina gets it done. I don't think Houston is as formidable. You're agreeing there with the assessment of Deshaun?
Yeah, and Houston in general. But even though I'm picking them, but especially in this situation where they won 2 in a row, they're a big letdown team. They're not the team that runs 4 or 5 games. They always have one stinker in the middle, and it might be it. Maybe they'll be overlooking them without Cam. But I'm going to stick with the.
It was a nice win in San Diego. You and I were going back and forth during the game, commenting on.
Philip Rivers, yeah. It's just...
what's worse than being a Chargers fan and the game being close? Do you just turn it off? We're not up by 10. This one's over. They get a nice little reprieve this week with a bye week in Miami, so they should be setting the world on fire again.
Yeah, Philip Rivers. I don't know. He makes some great plays. And then some not so great plays. He's just up and down. But at the end of the game, is more often than not he comes up short.
I guess we should talk about Melvin Gordon since he's reporting back. Their other running backs were great while he was out, but he's a difference maker back there. They're certainly not off to the start that they expected or that they anticipated after going 12-4 last year. Do you think he's enough to kind of right the ship for them?
No, not really, because as you said, Eckler and Jackson have been giving them some yards from that position. So I don't think he's going to make much of a difference. They got a lot of holes in other areas, including the quarterback play and the defense a little soft. So
is this enough?
I don't think he's going to make that much of a difference.
Is this enough to right the ship for them? At Miami, home for Denver, home for Pittsburgh, at Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's pretty much they're pretty much
4 layups.
They're pretty much guaranteed for second place. I mean, they're not going to challenge the Chargers, but they're not going to be that bad where they slip below the Raiders and the Broncos. So they're just going to wallow in mediocrity and then get to their 8-9 wins, whatever.
You get one of the other interesting games this week. It's kind of there's not that many games this week that we're really looking forward to, right? Dallas, New Orleans.
Bears, Vikings.
Philly, that's what I was just going to say. Philly, Green Bay, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Minnesota, Chicago. So I'll say right off the bat, I don't think either one of these teams are particularly good, but they're probably I mean, they're probably the two best defenses. Well, it's other than maybe the New England. They're definitely the two best defenses in the NFC, right? I mean, they're good defenses, challenged offenses. In Chicago, I'm really unimpressed with Chicago. They were begging to give that game to Washington. Did you watch the whole Monday night game?
Yeah.
I mean,
of course, that fourth down play would have been a big. They would have been shitting their pants if Keenan missed that fourth down play and cuts it to one score.
That's
they
after
would have been panicking.
That's after Keenum. I mean, just completely couldn't get out of his own way the whole game. I mean,
Yeah,
turnover. I mean, the announcers, even like Booger McFarland and stuff, were acting like the game was over. And I'm like, they're only down 2 scores, and they're running. They're going through them like a hot knife through butter. Trubisky I guess he was good in the first half, but he predictably fell on his face in the second half. Even in Chicago, like I really, really am not sold on the Bears at all. And you can move the ball on them, and especially like Dalvin Cook's been really, really good. And the Vikings, even though they don't use them, have some real weapons on the outside. So if Chicago sells out to stop the run, Cousins has guys he can go to, and Diggs and Thielen. And I think Minnesota's defense is, if not as good as Chicago's, the difference between Chicago's offense and Minnesota's offense will, in that game, they'll be plenty good enough. Like I don't see the Bears scoring more than 14 to 17 points, and I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota to go in there and get the W.
Yeah, you're not a defensive guy, but you got to admire the NFC North is the best division of football by far.
Defensively,
from top to bottom. No, all around. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Right now, there's not one. I mean, every division has at least like one bad team. Right now, they don't have any. There's not one bad team. Every team has been pretty impressive. So you have to admire the whole defense. But the whole division. But this is going to be a defensive struggle. But Minnesota, man, Stephon Diggs only 6 catches, and you can see
he's only got. I mean, it's not like he's getting a lot of targets. I mean, they're just not throwing. They're not throwing the ball.
And you can see Thielen only 11 receptions, and even they get like a 1st and 1, and you could tell they want to give Thielen a little love. They hand it off to him. They let him get a rushing touchdown because that's to appease him because they know that they don't want to put the ball in Cousins' hands at all. They want to give him as little as responsibility as possible. You can't do that versus the Bears. You can't just expect Cook to run through the Bears. The Bears are gonna stop him. So I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna look for the Bears to squeak this one out.
But Cousins is capable, right? I mean, he has bad games, but he's capable of chucking the ball 50 times if he has to. I mean, he's done it before. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's a good game. If it was in Minnesota, it would be a no-doubter for me. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be a good game. You got to think it's probably 21-17 either way, right?
That might be too high, yeah, unless a lot of points off turnovers.
Defensive touchdown for each team. Trubisky's really bad. I just have trouble picking them ever because he's just not good.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the Vikings front 4 with Hunter and Griffin and Joseph in the middle been dominant. So yeah, this could be old school defensive struggle, but I look for the Bears with the home advantage.
All right, we'll see, John. That's about what I got for decent matchups this week. We got a whole bunch of piss break games.
Yeah, let's. How about how's the Jalen Ramsey situation? Keeps taking a turn. He was sick. He's having a kid. He was injured.
He's not playing on purpose.
What's the latest today?
He wasn't there today because of the kid, so he didn't practice. They're saying he's probably not going to suit up. I mean, he wants to go and he doesn't want to get hurt. It's the whole player empowerment era. He's doing the Anthony Davis.
But that division is winnable. You got this guy Minshew who looks like he's got some swag. He looks like he's going to be a good player and plus a good quarterback. And you got Foles coming back off injury. So why wouldn't you just play it out? You got the defensive line has been dominant with Calais Campbell and
I agree.
And Josh Allen. So you got a team. You got a winnable division. So why don't you just shut the fuck up and play? I don't understand. You're not
I don't know what
for another year and a half.
But I mean, apparently it's Coughlin that he's got the
Yeah.
big problem with. So you don't know what happened
Yeah.
there. But it's
So-
I think it's really causing a rift in the organization. The owner
Yeah.
publicly came out and said he wants to keep him. And, I mean, that's kind of cutting off Coughlin's legs. So you almost wonder if they would consider axing Coughlin.
Yeah, and what's even worse is Coughlin kind of undermined his coach by he went to talk to Ramsey and kind of disregarded Marone there. But
Big surprise.
you were saying how they quit on him, but I saw that fight. They dominated the Titans.
No,
That's
I
not
was
fault.
wrong. I'll be the first to admit. You know, we say some stuff on here. I was dead wrong about that. I thought the Ramsey stuff would make them go the other way like they did last year. But it seems like they're really rallying around Minshew.
Minshew, yeah, the kid's got swag. He's a good kid. So, and you have Foles coming back on the horizon. So why would you quit on this team? Why would you want to get traded? That division is winnable, and you guys have a dominant defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and they have a very winnable game this week. Obviously, Denver is.
But if you really want to trade, why don't you call up your old team, the Giants? We'll trade it for Jenkins for Ramsey.
Straight up,
Yeah, why not?
they want 2 first-round picks.
No, thank you. Click.
I know you would think. I mean, the team that really makes sense would be Kansas City,
Or the
if they're-
Raiders.
the Raiders.
Yeah, if they
They
have
can't
extra
do
ones,
that.
if they have extra picks, not their top pick, but if they have extra picks.
I know they have to be a little gun shy after the stuff with Antonio. I mean,
Yeah,
to
but that
bring
was
in
only,
another
they only lost a
malcontent.
third and they only lost a third and a fifth. Yeah.
no, I know, but I mean, he was just such a headache. But
Because, but any team that does it, look what Khalil Mack did at the beginning of the year for the Bears.
even now,
he
look what Khalil
turned-
Mack does for the
turned them into an instant contender.
Right,
So-
and
so-
Ramsey is that good. I mean, he's the best cornerback
Yes.
in football. So, like the Chiefs doing it, I mean, that would be scary.
Yeah,
get a
for
guy
you
like
guys,
that.
sure.
But it's not Reed's style, I don't think. 2 first-round picks is a shitload in the NFL. I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge amount.
Yeah, but you figure Kansas City, that those picks are going to be
Late.
number 28 and 29 in the next 2 years, so it might be worth it.
But you got to pay them too. I mean, you got to back up the truck for them.
If you get a chip, it's worth it, man.
I'm with you.
Maybe,
I'm with
maybe
you.
you don't. Yeah, if you get a chip this year, who knows? You could tell them to go screw in 2 years. Thanks for getting a ring. Like
The Jets have
New
the
England
cap
did
room too.
New England did that to Revis.
The Jets could bring him in. I don't know if they would trade. I don't think they would trade the first round picks, but
not the first round, unless they have extras. But you want to keep your the one you deserve for your less than stellar record. But maybe if you got extras.
And then wanted to talk real quick about the Colts. Looking
Sure,
pretty
very
good
impressive.
looking pretty good without Andrew Luck, huh?
They're looking very good. Brissett's been excellent. Their defense, as we've lauded before, under Eberflus and Reich is a good coach. So and they got a bye week this week, and
Nope.
playing the Raiders 3-1.
Oh yes, I see your joke there. The
You
Raiders
missed it.
suck.
You're slow today, damn.
I know. I'm too
Yeah,
pumped
so-
up for the game tonight.
3-1. The Colts and I got a juicy matchup ahead the following week at KC Sunday night.
And they're the kind of team that can give KC trouble because they can keep him off the field with that running game
Yeah,
and that line.
and maybe that defense could hold KC to a couple field goals instead of touchdowns. And Mack, Hilton, and Brissett all been very impressive.
It was another tough week for the Raiders, getting just whacked in Minnesota. They were never in the game. Just another.
Yeah.
They played they fooled everybody with that Broncos game at the beginning of the year. They were going to be decent. So
Well, not fool because the Broncos are looking equally as a net.
It's
But,
true.
there is a bright side. The Waller looks real good.
oh,
Darren
absolutely,
Waller,
and he's
the
a
tight end.
great story too. He's a very good
Yeah.
player. Hopefully, for his sake, he gets out of there sooner rather than later.
And Jacobs too has been decent.
Yeah,
That's
for-
a
I mean,
running back. Yeah.
You know, if you're going to pick a running back in the first round, I guess he should be good. But
But they don't have any sort of playmakers on defense.
No.
They have nothing.
no, they let that guy go. You remember? He's only the
listening.
best defensive player in the NFL. So it's a little tough stretch coming up for Oakland, for Gruden and the boys. We got at Indy, followed by home for Chicago, at Green Bay, at Houston, home for the Lions, and home for the Chargers. So that, to me, looks like 0-6, which puts them at 1-8. Do you start hearing the grumblings, if I'm right about that?
Well, I don't know, because then it'll be they'll be in the Tua Derby, so Gruden will be around to mold the next quarterback.
It's a shame for Tua. All right, had to get my shots in. Johnny.
We did it, pal.
We did it. And I have a couple of things I'm going to talk about here as soon as I can. Have you been on any other shows lately, John?
Yes, definitely. There's a new Laughing Theater with David Sunday. So I Married an Axe Murderer, one of my classic underrated comedy with Mike Myers. Him and Andy did a great job with that.
All right. And I can tell you some other stuff, too. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So on the Pop feed, you want to check out our weekly shows first and foremost. One you're listening to, best show we have here at Place to Be Nation, in my humble opinion, this week in the NFL with myself and Mr. D'Amato. Other than us, you have the hard-traveling fanboys attempting to fix the terrible 2005 film Elektra. Can it be done? I don't know. Find out in Fix It or Nix It. I didn't think Elektra was that bad, but hey, what do I know? I'm no expert. DC4U wraps up September with a new current events, looking at all the big DC comics, TV, and movie news for the month, as well as picking their top DC books from the month. Check out their shows from earlier this month that were all about The Flash. Multiple shows about The Flash. That's good stuff. Brand new show joins the Pop feed as siblings Kevin and Mary host the Brother-Sister Rewatch podcast. On episode 17, they bring you The Office, Season 3, episodes 5 and 6. Diwali. Pop goes the movies, because the movies go pop, when Scott and Jennifer reviews the highly anticipated sequel to Stephen King's It. On Laugh-In Theater, it's number 12, Laugh-In Theater number 12. Andy welcomes David Sunday to live watch So I Married an Axe Murderer. Little Mike Myers there, John.
Yes, that was terrific. I highly recommended the podcast. Listen to that today.
On Looking Forward, Looking Back, it's the summer movie recap and wager results. Andy is joined by Mirandia, Scott, Tim, and Russell to see who won. Greatest Song of the 80s tournament continues. We're in the regional finals round, a.k.a. the Sweet 16. There'll be two polls a day posted for round 6. You can get in on the action on Facebook by searching PTBN's Greatest Song of the 80s tournament and liking the page. Be sure to weigh in. And with the Greatest Song of the 80s tournament winding down, we'll soon be announcing our fall tournament. So stay tuned. I love those tournaments.
Yes.
Couple of things going on over on the wrestling feed. Wrestling Warzone, back with episode number 30, featuring WCW Clash of the Champions 32. When men were men. Right, John?
Yeah.
On the 5th episode of the Extreme Three-Way Dance, JT, Jenny, and John danced their way through 3 episodes of ECW Hardcore TV from March and April of 1994. John, I think we talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we got number 6. We'll be up next week, next Monday.
All right. Is that the name of the show, Extreme Three-Way Dance?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Every week, is it the 3 of you?
Bi-weekly, sure.
Bi-weekly, you 3. Nice. I'm going to have to start tuning in. I'm not an avid listener, unfortunately. I don't have tons of time. I concentrate on, this and doing research so I don't sound stupid on this show, you know what I mean? Some of us are retired.
That's a shot.
Main event number 133 previews WWE's Clash of Champions. Then go back to 2002 for the next TNA Classic pay-per-view recap. I'd assume we'd have another one of those up since Clash of Champions was a week and a half ago. So that should be coming soon as well. Then be sure to check out PTBN's Clash of Champions reaction show with Chris Zellner and Devin Hales. So that's a sister podcast to the main event before, reaction show after. Pete Winston and Steve Bennett wrap up their series, breaking down their favorite all-time sports seasons on The Addams Division. And lastly, Jenny, Matt, Drew, and Scott dip into the hidden gems to review Boogie Jam 84 on Jenny and the Gems. Every Wednesday on PlaceToBeNation.com, we've got the most interesting and unexpectedly funny stories on the World Wide Web featured in Glenn's Weekly Walk. For college football... Sorry, I lost the train of thought there. Campus Hot Takes with Scott and Logan. Tune in every week. And lastly, if you're doing any shopping over the holidays, make sure you use the Amazon banner over on PlaceToBeNation.com. Takes you right to Amazon and helps out Place to Be Nation with no cost to you. So that's what we have going on at Place to Be Nation. We have a big football game tonight that John and I are gonna watch, so we can talk about it next week for you. And anything else to plug there, John, that I didn't bring up?
Nah, you got everything. Who you got in fantasy tonight?
I have a lot. I have a lot of different. It's not even
good. Who cares?
Not
Who
even
cares?
worth talking about. I leave that. I check that at the door here, John. That's a different.
Nah, I'm
it's
sorry.
a different guy.
It's very popular. I have to admit it. So
it's popular, and I've been doing it. I've been doing it a long time. But this show is not a fantasy football show. It's a football show. So. I'm not. I mean, it's a very different scenario if I'm talking about who I think is gonna get the best stats, right? As opposed to, line
I was trying
play.
I was trying to give you guys a couple minutes because I know fantasy is very popular. So
I don't need it. I
Okay.
don't need. I live it.
Fair enough.
I live
Fair
it.
enough.
I'm good. This is my reprieve from fantasy, John. Please don't ever talk about fantasy out here again. Just kidding.
My fantasy involves a couple of young females.
Yeah.
But that's for another podcast.
I like some good hot cakes myself. So, John, enjoy the game tonight. Always a pleasure talking to you. Are you making it to? Am I going to see you soon?
It doesn't look good,
All right.
unfortunately.
Well, we will see each other for sure at UFC.
UFC will probably be our next date. Yeah.
And that's going to be a good time. We can talk about that a little bit here because this can be this week in sports as well. So. John,
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure, my friend. I very much enjoyed this. I hope the listeners have too. We love you guys. As I always say, and no one ever takes us up on, reach out to me, reach out to John. We'll have you on the show. We'll talk about the show. We can talk football, whatever you guys want. We're here for you. We are men of the people, as they say. So take advantage. We're friends with all of you. So for John, the man, I'm Roger, Cowboy. We're out of here.
Friends to the end.